I had
question.
Yes, yes, I did. Thank you for being here and taking questions. Prison spending. It seems to be nothing anybody's talking about when they talk about budget expenditures. Do you know, well, I'll tell you, currently taxpayers are paying $32,100 per prisoner per year. In 1990, the state of Wisconsin was spending $238 million on prison spending. We are now over $1 billion annually for prison spending. A lot of prisoners are in prison because of mental illness and because of drug use. Now, I would ask that we try to reduce that spending, and we can reduce it by taking those people out of the prison system, treating them for their illness, and making them members, contributing members of society. There is a $1.93 return to taxpayers if we do that. Would you support something like that?
Well, first of all, let me say this. I served on the county board for about 9.5 years, and about 4.5 years on that, I was the chairman of the Public Protection Committee. And we dealt with alternatives to incarceration because I think that there are also always issues that come up. We have actually in Racine County, and I don't know the exact numbers right now because I'm a year removed from me being there, but a year ago when I served on the county board, we had about 700 or 800 people that would normally be kept in jail, that were out of jail, that were on daily reporting systems, or were on ankle bracelets, those types of things, so we could monitor those individuals without having to incarcerate them at $50 a day or $38 a day, whatever it was. So we looked at saving dollars and still being able to protect the integrity of whatever the court sentence was and what their supervision requirements are. Daily I was getting information on who was in our jail and how they were classified. And I can tell you, as I went through and looked at the people that were in our jail, I wouldn't want to bring any one of them home. So I would rather have those people in jail that are serving in jail for what they're supposed to be doing, for the crimes that are occurring. They need to be there until they deal with the issue. I believe in truth in sentencing. I was the author of the repeal for early release because I did not believe in that. Because what we were doing is we were letting people out, just saying, okay, we're just going to let them out because of a dollar issue. Doesn't make sense to do an early release like they were doing, and very arbitrarily, releasing people back to the community that they left. And then that individual is doing a burglary or armed robbery or a rape or whatever, and we never catch them, well, I won't say never. Generally, we don't catch somebody the first time they actually violate the law. It might be the 10th or the 15th or 20th time. So now you have that many more victims involved too. And then the entire process of prosecuting that individual, that cost shifted to the local municipalities. So by changing that, and I believe we need to work in the system, and one of the issues we had was bringing people into the jail that had mental issues. And one of the issues was not having medications. You know, they were off of their medications or whatever, they acted out, they did a disorderly act or domestic violence. Well, they still did the crime, but the base issue was the mental health issue. That is being addressed by the local jails, and it is being addressed by the courts. With an individual comes in, they're being assessed and classified. That is happening. It's happening because we don't want to just lock somebody up and not get them the care that they need.
Okay, so if I hear you correctly, and correct me if I'm not. So you're not for reducing the cost to taxpayers.
No, I am.
You want a jail. Okay, but what I'm hearing is that you're saying that if they committed a crime, they need to go to jail. Okay, that's what I'm hearing you saying. Currently, if you compare what Minnesota spends in their prison system and what we spend,
yep, been through that.
It's just a vast.
They don't have truth in sentencing.
Incredible difference in spending. I'm very troubled by our propensity to jail people with mental illness and people with drug issues. Again, I say, if you take those people out of prison, get them treatment, it saves the taxpayers money. It doesn't cost them money.
Yes,
it saves them money. And that's what I ask you to do. $1.93, it's going to save for every dollar they spend on the prison.
The other issue you have to understand, though, right? The other issue that you have to understand here, though, is whenever we have an individual that has an addiction, the individual with addiction has to himself or herself want to get rid of that addiction. And they have to want to have sobriety.
Right.
If you're an alcoholic or you're a drug user, you have to want that first. So making somebody do anything doesn't work. You've got to have buy-in. We have a process that we started here in Racine County, one of the first drug courts in Racine County, that we could deal specifically with individuals that had drug issues. And this is now spread to the rest of the state. We were a pilot. Spread to the rest of the state. We had testimony on this yesterday in one of my committees, actually, about a veterans court that is mirrored after what they're doing with the drug courts. And what it does, if somebody has an addiction and they're dealing with a drug issue, instead of just throwing them in jail, they bring them in, they have this drug issue, now they give them options. Okay, you can either go to jail or you can work with somebody. We have people here, we'll do an assessment, have you assessed, and we'll try to figure out what the best way is we can help you to get through this, to get out of your habit, or deal with the depression is a big issue, or to be able to help you with whatever medications you might need, because we have a lot of people that are bipolar that get into these types of situations too. We need to be identified. Before it was just like we just locked people up. When I started in the police department back in '72, we weren't looking at all these issues because they weren't issues. We didn't have the knowledge and the education. That we have a lot of that knowledge now because they have looked at the penal system. We have probably, I think they're in most of the state systems that we have for corrections. I mean, there's probably millions of dollars that we can save in efficiencies that I'm hearing from some of the workers that are there, that there are efficiencies we can do, but it's do we want to take and do we want to really identify those things? And we're starting to do that. It's starting to happen already. It didn't happen years ago. I've had guys come in and say, come into my office and say, I'm a correctional worker, and we need to do this, this, and that. This is ridiculous. This has been going on for years. I could call in sick on my shift and then come into the next shift and get time and a half. That's nuts. Well, okay. So those are some of the things that they've saved, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I think the bottom line is this, with all due
we need to do a better job.
With all due respect, what I see from a taxpayer standpoint is that we're spending less on education, we're spending less on social program, and we're spending more on prisons. There's a direct correlation, in my humble opinion.
Corrections are about 6%.
Well, nevertheless, I'm telling you what we're spending.
Education is 45%.
Increase
in
in prison spending has just gone through since the QEO, since all of that. The prison spending has gone through the roof. So, in my estimation, my humble estimation, taxpayers are either going to pay for better education and good-paying jobs, or they're going to be paying for the prison. It's just $32,000 over $32,000 we're paying right now, and that can be reduced.
And I think that you have some valid points, and I'll look at those points. But also the people that are victims out there, when you talk to them,
of course,
they're not as concerned about $32,000 when their daughter was just raped. They want to see that person.
You're not talking about those.
You got to take it easy.
I'm not judging that at all. I'm not saying that out that there shouldn't be a justice system. Of course there should.
And a lot of times it is. We are looking at the mental health issues is huge.
I know.
I mean, that is a huge issue. That's why we have NIAMI, which is an organization which works with people that have depression issues or those types of things. They have expanded.
I see it every day. I see it every day.
And I mean, we have to be sensitive to that. I agree totally.
Thank you.
I agree totally.
So let's try and reduce that cost.
We'll do that. Get another question.